Okay, so in this episode, we're focusing on the 7 key numbers that drive the profitability for your business. They ultimately represent the bottlenecks that are keeping you stuck where you are, or they represent the real opportunities, the growth areas that you can focus on to be able to massively grow and scale the profitability side of your business. Hello and welcome to the Profit and Cashflow Mastery podcast. I'm your host, Gavin Smith from The Profit Analyst, and in this podcast, I'm going to be showing you how simple, easy, and more important, how practical numbers can actually be for you as a small business owner. I have a pretty extensive finance career and background, but more importantly and more relevant to you is I'm a small business owner myself. I've built multiple businesses from startups and turnarounds through to 7 and even 8-figure plus businesses. And what I've learned along that journey is how to make numbers really simple and easy and practical and how to use them to guide you in your business strategies. And ultimately, that's what I now love doing. I love teaching other business owners how to make the numbers simple and easy so they can gain real clarity about their numbers. I love showing them how to identify what numbers actually matter in your business, but more importantly, I show you how to use your numbers so that you can make better decisions, which ultimately leads to better profitability, better cash flow, and growing and scaling businesses. So let's dive into it. Okay, so in our Profit and Cashflow Mastery coaching program, we run a weekly group chat. In there, we had a really great discussion this week around the importance of knowing the 7 key numbers that drive profitability within your business. So these 7 key numbers, they form the basis of my profit formula, which is the tool for understanding exactly how your business makes profit. And they're the basis of not only understanding how your business is performing, but they represent the opportunities where you can make more profit in your business as well. We touched on the importance of knowing these 7 numbers. It's not many, it might sound like a lot, 7 numbers, but once you know what they are, it's really easy to know exactly what they are for your business at any point in time. So we touched on the importance of knowing these numbers all the time so you can just see exactly how your business is performing really quickly. But then secondly, and more excitingly, it's these numbers, they represent the bottlenecks that are keeping you trapped, but they also represent the areas or the opportunities for you to be able to grow and scale your profit. Which numbers you can change and what you can focus on to be able to level up to the next step in terms of profitability. Let's start by saying, what are the 7 numbers? So there are 2 numbers related to the income side of your business and 5 numbers related to the expense side of your business. So if we think profit is just the outcome of the equation, income minus expenses, we want to go a little layer deeper. So when we're talking about the income, we can split that up into pricing, the average prices that you're charging. And we can split that up into the number of transactions you have. So depending on your business, you might look at this as the number of clients or the number of members or the number of sales, but ultimately it's a volume related number and it's volume times price, which generates the income for your business. The reason when we split it into these 2 categories, we can see, there's different strategies at play here. If I want to increase the income in my business, do I play around with pricing? Do I put my prices up? Yes or no? Or is this my prices are actually fixed where they are? And for me to increase income, this is a game around volume. And that's when we can start to look at what's my capacity. What are the numbers that drive my volume? My leads to conversions, my rollover rate, my churn rate or repeat customers, all these kind of metrics which talk about volume side. So anyhow, we can boil our income down to what are these 2 key numbers that drive income? They're going to be different depending on what business you're in, the nature of your business. But at the end of the day, we still have these 2 simple metrics. A couple of examples. If we're talking about a hospitality venue, the average price might be $25 per transaction. The number of customers or the number of sales we have per month might be 10,000. So it's a lower price point times a higher number. On a flip side, if we're something in the middle, might be a gym or some kind of boutique fitness studio, your price might be $250 per month and your volume is I have 500 members per month. Or potentially you're some sort of more high-ticket consultancy type thing, and it might be the price might be $5,000 per month and you have 10 clients per month. Or you could be a builder and you're talking about $500,000 home and you're only doing 1 per month or 1 over 6 months. So the numbers are very different depending on what business you're in, but at the end of the day, it's still just a price and a volume, and this is what dictates your income side of your business. Then when we look at the expenses side of things, I always love to break expenses down into 5 key categories of numbers, and there's another podcast out there about what the 5 numbers are and why I choose these ones and how they all have a different profit strategy. But ultimately, number 1 is the cost of goods sold, the raw materials, the things we're buying to sell or the direct costs we're incurring in our sales. The second category is our team cost, and that's everything grouped in team. I'm talking wages and contractors and superannuation and staff insurance and annual leave, or all the sort of team costs put together. The third category is items that I'm investing in to grow the business. And I'm talking marketing and advertising and coaching or sales coaching, whatever it might be, the marketing and growth spend for the business. The fourth category is property. If you're a bricks and mortar business, it's really important we understand how much we're paying for the rent or the fixed location for us. And then we go into looking at, what's the capacity I'm going to get out of that site, is how we use that number. And then the fifth category is the overheads. And this is the catch-all bucket. If something doesn't fit into the COGS team, marketing or property before it. It's just grouped up into the overheads category here. Back to what we're talking about today, the importance to know these 7 numbers. We've already talked about the 2 at the front, the price and the volume. Now we're talking about knowing your 5 numbers for your expenses. You might know these numbers as either being a variable cost, which is known as a percentage of the income, or a fixed cost where it's a hard dollar value of it. So if I take one of my hospitality venues, for example, we'll have a COGS target of 30% per month. We'll have a team ratio target of 40% of sales per month. We also know that we're spending $10,000 per month on marketing activities. We're spending $20,000 per month on our property costs, and we're spending, let's call it just $20,000 per month on our overheads. You can see here we've got to the point where I know my 7 numbers that drive the profitability in this business. On the front, it's $25 average transaction times 10,000 transactions. And then on my expenses, it's 30% for our cost of sales, 40% team, 10K marketing, 20K property, 20K overheads. Now we know what the 7 numbers are, and these are the 7 numbers I would love for you to know for your business and to be able to identify them. How do we do that? Basically, just look at the last 3 months worth of trading for your business. Let's see what has been the average we've spent on COGS or team cost or marketing. What's been our average income over those 3 months? The reason I'm saying an average over 3 months is because obviously business can be a little bit up and down one month to another. And so it's great to take like a 3-month average to at least know where you are. What's the value in this? So what? Why do I want to know these 7 numbers? At the first level, just knowing what these numbers are is really powerful for you because you can quickly, easily see your next month's financial results when they come in, and you can easily decide what's been a good month or a bad month for which parts of your business. And this is where I like to do like the traffic light kind of thing. So I can look at the COGS in my example and say if the COGS were 29% and I've got a general running average of 30%, I'm like, great, green light, tick that, move on to the next thing. If the next category is team and they were like 45% for the month and I'm generally hitting 40%, that's a red light straight away. What's going on? Why were the team costs 45% instead of 40? I can look at my marketing and I spent $11,000. Comparison to the 10 I'm usually spending, I'm like, that's a green or an orange light, you know, it's there or thereabouts. I might look at why it was a little bit higher, or I might just accept it. Rent was probably 20K because it's the same every month, so we can easily just green like that. And again, my overheads might be 15 to 20 and I just green light that straight away. I'm not bothered at looking at what's going on in there. Or it might be like 30K for the month. And then I'm like, well, that's a red light. It's normally 20K every month. What's going on within my overheads? So knowing these 7 numbers straight away enables me to see exactly how the month has gone. When new sets of financial information come in, I can easily see what's happening within the business. Just back to where you find these numbers, like I said, just find them for the last 3 months worth of average. But this is how, when we're looking at our monthly clarity report that we have for people, it's really quickly and easily showing you all these numbers on the first page. So you can always see exactly how the business is performing, and you can quickly rate the month in terms of like this traffic light system of what kind of month it was for you. This was the conversation we had in the coaching call this week. Was step 1 was, what is your 7 numbers? And we were just encouraging people to know their 7 numbers off the top of their head and why that's important and useful and helpful for you as a business owner. But then the real breakthrough is when we start looking at step 2. It's like the so what? What can I actually do with these numbers now? If you're a business owner who is struggling to see results, or you're overwhelmed by the numbers side of your business, we can help. Book in a call with one of my team members using the link in the description, and let's get your business thriving without the overwhelm. The thing about these 7 numbers in context of your business's profitability, these are the numbers that make up your profit formula in terms of making profit for your business. Each one of these 7 numbers is like a leverage point in your ability to make profit. And by that, I mean, they're a number that you can put effort into and make that number go up or down. And you can change any of these numbers by putting your effort into it. Some of them, though, when we think about a leverage point, like the little fulcrum and lever, some of them take a disproportionate amount of effort to make a small change to the profitability. Whereas other numbers represent, like, I can put in a reasonable amount of effort and I can get a big change to my profitability. So one where there's probably a lot of effort to not much change is going to be the property cost. Particularly if you're tied into a lease already, you could change that lease, but it's going to take a lot of effort. It's going to incur a lot of legal costs, and you've got to find another place, and the cost of breaking a lease and changing a fit out and fitting out a new location, all that kind of stuff. It's a lot of effort, probably to a disproportionate gain in terms of what that's going to impact your profitability. Whereas something like marketing, as long as you're doing effective marketing, you can focus your energy and efforts and dollars towards that category, and you're probably going to get a great leveraged output for that in terms of a lot of new clients coming into the business and a lot of impact that's ultimately going to make on our business's profitability. Likewise, our team, we might be able to look at the team and look at investments we can make in that area in terms of leadership coaching or getting a more high-performing team. Or it's just a question around our team is at capacity and we need to bring more team in. So that's going to cost more or invest more into team costs, but that's going to be able to change our volume side of things, which is ultimately going to improve our profitability. My point being, once you know these 7 numbers, you can look at them all as an opportunity. Which ones can I change? Which ones should I focus on to be able to improve our profitability? And that's where knowing these 7 numbers is the starting point. And step 2 is looking at these numbers under the framework of like, which ones can I change? Where should I put my efforts? Which ones do I focus on? Because ultimately it's being able to see these 7 numbers for where your business is now. And that's giving you a certain set of profit results. And then we can look ahead and we can see, where do I want my business to be? And therefore, what would those 7 numbers look like at that level? Rent might be the same, overheads might be the same, but I have a lot more customers. And therefore I can afford to spend more on team or marketing activities. Or I've got better cost control around my cost of sales. And therefore I have higher profit through better cost management. Whatever that might be for you to be able to, where you want to go with your business, we're able to use these 7 numbers to identify where we are today and what the 7 numbers would look like when I'm getting the results that I want to achieve out of my business. And therefore, this helps you see what are the business strategies that I should be focusing on right now to move my business from where it is today to where I want it to be. And this is really about what my profit calculator tool is all about. It's where we fill in these 7 numbers and we can identify exactly where we are now and we can see exactly where we want to be. And it helps us see what's the profit that's waiting for me on the other side of solving that bottleneck. What's the profit that's waiting for me on the other side of investing in that certain area, which is going to take my business to the next level. And that gives you real confidence as a business owner that you're focusing on the right things that are actually going to translate into improved profitability, into the changes you want to see within your business. The crux of today, or what the message was, or where I wanted to go is, I would love you all to know exactly what the 7 numbers are that drive the profitability within your business. If you're having trouble identifying what those are, please reach out and talk to us. This is one of the fundamental first steps that we do is help people get clarity around their numbers so they know what's going on within their business. But then once you know them, we can now look at each of those numbers as an opportunity. Which numbers can I focus on and get change, which is going to result in better profitability for my business? Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Profit and Cashflow Mastery. If this episode helped you gain clarity with your numbers, then please make sure you give us a 5-star review wherever you're listening to this. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast. And if you want to stay connected, make sure you give us a follow on the socials at The Profit Analyst.